Okay, there's not too many videos about these Fox Performance Series 2.0 shocks. These aren't the stock springs. I've swapped them out because my truck here has a off-road bumper on it and the stock springs were too soft, causing me to have to move the preload up too high. I got these heavier springs. I've put them in, and the start of the preload, so 0 inches of preload on this particular truck, ended up being 1/4 of an inch on the threads. And that meant 0 inches of preload. There's not too many videos about preload on like consumer trucks instead of just race trucks and stuff like that. Anyways, from my understanding, you basically have 0 inches of preload when the spring tension is completely removed, but not really compressed. And so that point on this particular shock was about 1/4 inch. So I currently have 1 3/4 of preload, which sets the truck height at about 5.5 inches, which is about stock. So I want to increase it back to the 6.5 inches in the wheel well. And so I think if the math is correct, that should be 1/2 inch of adjustment here, should be 1 inch of lift. So I end up with 2.25 inches of preload, which is probably the Fox standard. The problem is that Fox has no information anywhere that indicates what their preload setting is. And I guess that's the benefit to having like a Bilstein, is because they're just clips, so you can't mess it up. But the Fox shock, it's pretty finicky because it's an aluminum body, it's an aluminum collar, and it's really tedious because you have to tear down the whole front end of the truck every time you make an adjustment. So if there was more information on the internet from Fox, it would probably make this process a lot easier. I use this style of spring compressor. I've tried the other types that you can rent, and they are terrifying. This one is the least terrifying, but if you have access to a wall mount spring compressor, a commercial grade, then utilize that. That's gonna make your life 1,000 times easier. There's an Allen key here that you just need to loosen off, and then you need to compress your springs. And the best way to do that is to grab as far as you can, and so that you compress as much of the spring as possible. And then that'll loosen this collar up. You can then tighten the collar up. And I suggest using a caliper to do this measurement and not just a run-of-the-mill measuring tape, just to make sure it's a little bit more precise. But anyways, that's this little blurb on setting preload on Fox Performance 2.0s.